What? Oh, okay, cool. We're good. All right. So, welcome back to Tavern Talks. This is where we hang out, play, listen, talk about D&D, and drink. But tonight I'm not drinking because I'm sure somebody has a drink in their hand. At least.
I got one around here somewhere.
Yeah, I left mine downstairs. Oh, I'll pick it up later. Sorry. Anyway, tonight we have a really interesting guest. Normally we bring GMs on and we just talk about GM tips and we have discussions on how to make your games better. What about if you just didn't have to do all that? What about if you were given just massive amounts of maps and all of this high quality, what I would consider Dwarven Forge like gaming for pennies on the dollar, and it's done all for you? Well, we've got lucky because this is what we have tonight. So our wonderful friend John here, it works with a. Are you your own company, or is this your company with friends? Like, how does that?
It's myself and my good friend Tony, also known as Heimdallr.
Okay,
so the he and I have been doing this for a year and a half or so.
Awesome. So the two of you have taken on the opportunity to use the amazing platform known as Talespire to build these just absolutely intricate, massive artworks, I guess would be the best way to put this, interactive adventures that you can download off of your Patreon or through your Kickstarter, and you have the entire module already there for you. And that to me is a lot of time and energy saved. So, John, one thing I like to do is I ask 3 questions, and after last week, I finally got down to the point of asking it one at a time.
You're welcome.
It works a lot better. It's taken a long time for me to figure out that that's probably the way I should have done this in the beginning. But I'm also not a professional. This is just for fun. We enjoy doing this. We love building our community, and we love bringing on guests to talk about these crazy things that you all do. And so the first thing I want to do is, how did you get into tabletop RPGs?
Oh, man. Okay, so I was visiting my grandparents when I was 9 years old, and they were in Arkansas, and they took me to like this used bookstore. And they were, we were wandering around, and on the shelf was the white binder monster manual, where every creature was their own like 3-ring punched page.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want this. And they were like, what is that exactly? And they were like fundamentalist religious folk.
Oh yeah.
And so I like showed them the nice creatures. I didn't flip to the demons and stuff because I knew that they were gonna freak out. And so that was my first foray into like, I love these pictures, like learning how to read to understand the descriptions. And then there's all these numbers, and I didn't know what any of the numbers meant. And so
nobody knows what the numbers mean. That's part of the fun.
Another couple years before I managed to find like the player's handbook, like the second edition AD&D player's handbook, and read through it. And then my friends and I would just start getting together. We didn't have any concept of like we need to have adventures, like that there were modules, and so we just like made stuff up. And then a friend got like the red box, like the AD&D red box, and it was like away from there, so some 30 years ago, something like that.
Yeah, no, I feel you there. I mean, I've been playing now D&D since I was in high school, so I'm going on over 20 years of playing now. And I don't know, Matt, are you relatively new, or have you been playing for a while as well?
Compared to a lot of people, I'm relatively new, but this is probably, I started playing in my freshman year in college, so 2007, something like that. I was a 4E guy. It was my first edition.
Oh wow, yeah,
it's what was out.
Wow, yeah.
That's
I still have a soft spot for 4E. People really complain about it, but I get on my soapbox about how 4E is not that bad every once in a while, but it's just a different game,
Right.
Yeah. But just like the difference between 5E and 3.5, you have people who are really defensive about that, but they're all good in their own way.
Once you play enough, all the systems are more or less the same. Like there's a way to hit, there's a way to do a skill, there's a way to, Deadlands or 5E or Call of Cthulhu, like they're all some sort of framework. And as long as people can disassociate the system from like the settings, the adventures, and the role play and stuff, I think people have a better time. Try playing D&D with like the old school, the pre D20 Deadland system.
Yeah.
It is awesome. It is. I mean, you want D&D where you can cut limbs off? Yep, got it.
Right. And it's crazy because we've got. Personally, I haven't had anybody on the show for that, but I do know there's Kickstarters and there's third parties out there that do have those exact things there. I mean, and then if you want to dive in even deeper, you can go into stuff like if you remember back in third edition, like the Book of Vile
Deeds.
Vile Deeds. Yes, I was getting mixed up from another thing that we work on. But yeah, the Book of Vile Deeds. Those are some crazy mechanics that you can add into the game. But for the most part, it's all the same basics. The mechanics, yeah, they shift here, they shift there. And one thing I've learned over the years is, D&D as a whole has evolved. So why not pull what you enjoyed out of each of those versions and bring those with you to your next version? I never played fourth. Fourth was the one time, like the one gap in my my gaming career where I just didn't have time and energy, and I was deep in school and just joining the military, and I was just burning out on everything else I had to get done, and I just never picked it up. But then going into fifth edition and some of the game masters that I've ran with, finding out some of those things that they used were just pieces that they pulled from fourth edition. I was like, oh wow, so I do know what fourth edition was about and the different neat nuances of it, but I didn't ever actually play fourth edition. I went straight from 3, 5, and then to 5. So
yeah, this is a very unpopular thing, but my favorite system is the hero system. Like hands down, the hero system. You ever played Hero?
Oh, I have not played Hero.
It is the crunchiest of crunchy.
It is.
Just your characters will be the most balanced of any system that there is, right? Because the way that the guy created the system, I mean, there's rules for like you hit someone, right?
Right.
Well, you're gonna do stun damage, and theoretically you'll do a little bit of body damage. But then it's like after you hit them, determining the force of the impact to see how far back they fly. Then if they hit something, determining the force in which they hit it, and if they break it, to go through and hit something else. Like you can punch someone to the moon and the rules add up. It's bonkers.
Add up.
But the thing that hero system I think teaches people is that the system can be broken. There's nothing inherently in the system that protects you from it. That everything is a negotiation between you and the DM. And I think where people get hung up on a system is like, well, XYZ build is broken in 5th edition. And you know what? The GM has to allow me to play it because it's within the rules and blah, 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 blah. That I think that if everybody just looked at a system and just acknowledged, yeah, there's a way to break the system, it's not perfect. Yeah, and you're going to have to talk to your DM about it. Then I think a lot of well, don't play 4th edition because wizards are OP. It's like, well, my character's a thief named Stanley. It's about my character, not like I'm playing a broken class.
Right.
Anyway,
and sometimes an
anecdote about that.
Sometimes those broken things add charm. Like one of the most broken things, it's not D&D, it's a video game, but if you ever played like Morrowind or Oblivion, jump stat in that game where you could just jump and then land on the other side of the continent, and that was just the thing you could do, and you could use spells and stuff to do that about 20 minutes after you started the game. Right. And not like glitch anything, or just that's the way the game was, and it was cute if you wanted to do that,
Yeah. Uh-oh.
My camera dropped out. I'll be right back.
The wonders of technology, I swear.
Yeah.
Sometimes they just fight us left and right. Anyway, so my second question would be since you've answered 2 questions with once, which is really nice. The first one was going to be, how did you get in? The second one was, how long have you been playing? You said 30 years. I heard somewhere there.
Around there, yeah.
And then my final question is what got you to take over that final mantle? The mantle of going from player to game master.
Well, I don't think it ever occurred to me to not be
Okay.
to GM. Like when I first got the books and started reading stuff, and I wanted to tell my friends about it, I couldn't just be like, well, here's the rules. It's like
Yeah.
okay, you guys are gonna go, there are goblins attacking this town. And then they would say what they wanted to do, and then I knew the rules. And so I would say, okay, roll XYZ, here's why you're rolling that. And it just didn't occur to me to like be a player.
Right.
I think I would have been had there been someone in my group that was in my place. I totally would have, worshipped them at that age.
Oh yeah.
But it's just always been that way. I've always been an organizer.
Nice. Yeah. So and then you took that and you took how crazy this is now, and you now use Talespire, correct? That's how you promote your stories.
Talespire really was I've been looking for a VTT like this my whole life, and it's finally like, thanks, like someone, they've done it. It's Legos in 3D space, more or less.
Yeah.
And that it was just perfect.
I mean, there's a part of me that really wants to dive. I've had Talespire since beta. I've been wanting to dive into it. My problem is finding the time.
Exactly.
It is so much extra
and you
time.
are my market. You are my target audience.
Well, the problem with that though, for me though, is that I run my own professional games and I run them in custom versions. So it's like I have to create my own maps. I have to create my own stuff.
Yeah.
And I would figure out how to implement pre-made maps if I was DMing professionally. Because it's just the time.
So
it is.
Do either of you know what Tavern is?
Yes.
I don't know. I'm new to Talespire.
Okay. So the thing about Talespire is that you can build a map. Anyone can build a map, click a button that publishes the map. They publish that map at Tales Tavern, and then anyone can have it for free.
Right.
So I, being a lifelong DM, I know exactly if I was going to use Talespire, here's what I want. I want an adventure that all the descriptions in my adventure match exactly what people are going to see in Talespire. So I don't have to worry about the whole I see a chest, I open the chest. Well, the chest's not really there. You're like that kind of stuff.
Right.
I like WotC stuff. I like the official content. I mean, we're producing our own, but I still have this deep, profound love for the old stuff.
Right.
And
I can see that with Barovia alone. I mean, that's a huge module to just dissect too.
And what I really want to do is provide content for Talespire, because as a new VTT, that's what it's missing. Is I want people to be like, well, if I get Talespire, what am I going to do in it? I don't want to spend 500 hours making maps before I can even play. And that's where I was at. I wanted to play games in Talespire, but I really know what I want. And Death House took me 180 or 200 hours the first time.
Which Forge of Fury? Oh, Death House.
Just Death House was about 200 hours.
Yeah.
And so I did all the Forge of Fury. So now I can run the Forge of Fury now if I choose to. But I wanted complete modules with complete maps with hide volumes already set up, so that the barrier for entry for a DM who's like, hey players, I want to try Talespire, it's as easy and smooth as possible. And that's my goal. That's what I do.
And that's great because, to an extent, I'm the kind of DM that just give me a larger framework to work within, and I'll figure everything else out. But just being able to I've gotten more into modules lately, and just being able to just be there present in the moment, not have to worry about all the other crap in the background, like big stuff, like getting maps. Really, even I have a mini printing business, and really even at my tables, a lot of times I don't use mini. We just do theater of the mind, and just because I don't have time to do it, and having something like this where I don't have to, but I can still utilize it for my players that are really interested in that is a big deal.
Yeah.
And we do polls to our patrons all the time. Like, what do you want? What would help you with Talespire? And very early on, it was a combination of, we want huge, incredibly detailed boards for, WotC stuff. And then it was, what? If my players are crossing the grasslands, I just want a random encounter board. And so every month we are producing, roughly every month, we produce an adventure and we publish it Drive Through RPG. And along with that adventure, there's an encounter board. So we create an encounter chart. Talespire now has a feature where you can create a blueprint for a token.
Oh,
and
that's
it's
cool.
just a URL. And so if you have Talespire open and you click it, it creates the mini on your cursor in Talespire, stats already set up and everything.
Oh, wow.
And so we produce encounter boards with pre-set up tokens where you can just roll this encounter chart already set up for you, because it's very difficult in Talespire to just off the cuff create something that's the same quality as the normal map you're working with. So if you're playing like a super perfect Forge of Fury and you need some random mountain encounter, and you just like whip it out yourself, your players are going to be like what's up with that?
Right.
And so we're trying to
the quality down very quickly.
Yeah.
That's a really great idea.
Yeah,
and that's the thing is I haven't ventured too forth into Talespire too much. For the same reason I haven't messed with Incarnate and stuff is that's, as a DM, that's not something that I'm super into. And I'm the target demographic for that because I want to play all these adventures and have cool stuff, but I just don't have time, and nor does it bring me joy to do that.
Here's a secret though. Here's a secret. Not to like I guess push people away from what I'm doing, but I've had a lot of luck on Fiverr with Incarnate authors. For $25, you can send someone like a graph paper sketch and get something absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
So if you're still into the like 2D, not still into, I love them still too. If you're wanting to get like your maps quick and ready, I know a guy who can get maps done in 2 or 3 days that are just blow my mind. He's in Greece, I think. So
I mean, we got lucky because we've got a couple of us, including myself, and we have a couple of our actors that normally during the week, if I'm like, hey guys, I don't have time to build 16 encounters that we could potentially run into. Can you take care of this one? Can you take care of this one? And we throw them out. And
I want your players. Give me your players.
My players are like my second job. They're all my actors, and I mean these are. We stream weekly. We try to stream weekly, and we're preparing some very crazy projects in the future right now that I can't talk about without being stabbed.
Yeah, because you'll tell literally everything.
Oh, literally, yeah. I'm the cat. Everybody has to keep me quiet because I'm so excited. I really am.
I have to be careful too. People have to explicitly tell me to like shut up about stuff, or I'm just the instant I get on stream.
Yeah, no, I'm
excited about.
So excited, and I can't wait to let everybody know what we're coming up with, which is it's going to be a blast.
But to change the subject and stop James from doing something bad,
let's
look at some of the cool art assets and stuff you've got for us to take a look at. Because that's really what everybody who's here to learn stuff about Talespire and about what you guys are doing is here for. They want to see the cool toys.
Yeah, so if you want to pull those up for us, our tech guy's going to start flinging some things up on the screen.
Yeah, where do we want to start?
Yeah, we start with it. We can start with images. Let's throw up some images. Just roll through them.
Surprise me.
Yeah, surprise it.
So for those who aren't aware, Talespire is a system agnostic 3D virtual tabletop system. And it is the vision of the developers, and no, I'm not paid by them, I'm not on their team or anything, I get asked that a lot, is that it is supposed to recreate the actual tabletop experience, right? So there's not as much attention put to things that you would expect from like a video game, like, extensive line of sight and things like that. So definitely when you approach Talespire, kind of keep that in mind. They will get there eventually. But it is currently in early access. It just came out of, I don't know, has it been out of beta for like a year now? It's been a while. In any case, just that's where they're coming from. Is that if you're expecting this to be a video game, you're going to be disappointed. But if you think of it as a virtual tabletop, your expectations should be correct.
And that is
for the people asking, checking out their website. I'm going to throw the VTT journey up in the chat room right now for you guys all to check out.
That's the media resources page. You'll get to see me and my kiddos in there.
Oh no, I threw that one. I was grabbing it straight out of Discord. I apologize.
So Tales Tavern, who's in the chat, that's Dawn Cole.
Oh wow.
He's the Tales Tavern admin, super good friend of mine, awesome guy. I mean, he does it all from literally the kindness of his heart. He doesn't make a penny off Tales Tavern. In fact, he spends an infinite amount of money on Tales Tavern, keeping it running.
Dude, I feel you, my friend. I absolutely feel you. We make very little money on in our stream right now. We are looking for help with anybody interested in helping us, but and all of it goes back to 100% of it goes back to the stream. We are just we're here to offer these opportunities for creators to come on board, talk with us about what their creations are, help them get out there, and really just show off these amazing things that people can do for.
So the one thing that I'm curious about is like with Talespire and you being an artist that does this stuff. So like the statues here, are those custom models, or like are you going in and doing the wire mesh, or are those pre-existing Lego blocks? I mean, you could how does that work?
You can almost share my, if you just share my screen, I can like show you that.
Oh yeah,
great. I can actually show you it like in game here. Am I in the dawn?
Yeah, we'll do that. And then we've also got, I tossed it up on here. It's his Patreon. The Patreon that they're running right now is absolutely incredible. You can get most of these things through his Patreon.
So these are all free now. Actually, all of my Wizards of the Coast content is now published at Tales Tavern for completely free, all in celebration of the Kickstarter to create Castle Ravenloft, which will also be free to everybody.
So I'm curious then, just because now you've got me interested. So if I go into Tales Tavern, or then I download this and I have it. So what am I getting then on top of it with the Patreon or with the Kickstarter?
Sure. So by the in the beginning, there's WotC content, right? In the beginning, there's WotC IP, and they're very protective of it. And I've done everything I can to fall within their fan content policy. Like, and basically, you need to say that, look, we're unofficial. I need to say that it's going to be free. Anybody can get it. Wizards can have it. You know, it's going to go out into the universe, and I'm not going to make a penny off of it.
Right.
So that is the nature of the actual, the goal of the Kickstarter is that all funds raised are going to be going to building Castle Ravenloft. And actually, if we hit the first stretch goal, I think we're going to build a scale village of Vallaki as well.
Oh, nice.
And I sent a permissions ticket through the WotC website, specifically asking for permissions for this Kickstarter, links for everything, being like, hey, please check this out. Let me know if we need to change anything. Is it cool? And I got a reply back that said, yeah, we agree that your work meets the fan content policy. And I was like, oh, I actually wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, that's a rare thing. I mean, not to be rude or anything, but I've talked to a lot of people who have worked with WotC, and they're very strict and they're very forceful on cease and desist and those types of things. And to have you being given just they
agreed that we meet that we meet their policy. They specifically didn't approve. They didn't use that word. They just agree that we meet their policy. And so we've since got a letter from their lawyer, of course.
Oh yeah.
And the lawyer's like, who told you this exactly? And so I've sent them all the info. I'm like, look, here's like the 5-page email thread we had with the guys. Here's the everything. Please let us go through with this. And of course, they don't have to. They can have they can shut it down for any reason or no reason.
Oh, and man, so I hate that no content, like the no contest. You just because I want to.
We have spent the last year doing everything we can to play by the rules. Right. All of the content that I've produced, I've created a PDF that the PDF of the alternate descriptions are at dmsguild.com. So you can download the Ember Temple. You can go to DM's Guild, get it for free. That's like literally the revised Ember Temple for Talespire.
Yeah.
And so they've made money off of me. Not a lot because I mean, dude, $500 on pay what you want, I think is pretty good. So if they shut me down, we did everything we could.
That is incredible. But the fact that you've put this much type of just dedication and work into something that WotC had started, and you're still in this kind of like hesitant mode is really scary to me.
I mean, we already have plans what we're gonna do if they tell us no. You know, we're
Yeah.
already. It's like we got the email. It's like this weight in the pit of your stomach. You know, where they're like,
Right.
okay, everybody told us not to do this. We did it anyway, and here we are.
Right. No, I completely agree with that.
It's the biggest win-win for them ever.
Yeah.
Like I know lots of people that were like, I wasn't gonna get Curse of Strahd, right? I wasn't gonna get it, but then I saw like your Death House, or then I saw your Salinka Pass or your Amber Temple.
Yeah.
And
I guess it would be
yeah.
I guess it would be different if they were planning on entering the VTT like space.
Right.
But that doesn't seem to be their.
I heard rumors that they're wanting to do a 3D VTT like their own. But
yes,
I don't remember where
rumors,
I heard it.
But nothing has been. It's because of things like Arcana, though. That's why they're talking it now, because of Joe and some of the other big names in WotC that are.
This is the future, man.
And it is.
Well, this is a cheaper future, right? Because I mean, you think about it, and Matt and I have been luxury. We have the luxury to play around with stuff that is way over our price range. When we went to Genghis Khan in Colorado, we played around with probably, what'd you say, Matt? $16,000 worth of Dwarven Forge?
$16,000 wouldn't touch that Dwarven Forge. That was $50,000-$60,000 worth
50,
of
60 grand.
That's
for sure.
So here's the thing, and this is kind of where so if people are commissioning builds from me, I would not recommend commissioning builds from me. Well, I mean, actually, maybe you in the future. Like my target demographic for commission work is extremely high quality production, like streaming.
Right.
I mean, because
which you and I might have to have a conversation about this after we're done. Because
for the low price of like, oh man, I'm meticulous about numbers, right? And
we need to come up with we'll talk. I'm not going to jump on that one, but we have a project that's coming up that this would be amazing if we could prepare in time for it.
The Ember Temple, if we did full price,
here comes the number, Matt. We're all going to cry.
There is Amber Temple, $2,600. Would get you the Amber Temple?
And that's kind of what
I can show you the graph. This is our work on it. Like this is the type of data that I've been gathered this entire time that we've been doing this to provide people with like, look, we think we can get it done for this much. Here's our evidence why we think we can. Blah 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 blah. Like I don't know.
That's kind of why I was curious about. Do you guys are you making the wire mesh yourself? Is it pre-generated stuff? Like how much of it are you? How much nuts and bolts is there?
Actually, is it customized?
So in Talespire, I mean, basically, it's like it's The Sims, right? Like you have all these pieces. Each of these is a gravestone.
Oh wow!
And so each of these has been hand placed here in this pattern. None of these assets are custom. All of these assets are vanilla Talespire assets that everyone has access to, and it's a curse. I have rebuilt the Ember Temple twice. The first time I did it, these walls here, right, were kind of like this. There's the Desert Palace set, so it was kind of like this orange. Well, they released a set that was the Marble Temple. This is actually supposed to be a marble pillar, but like a true Talespire builder, you never use anything like it's supposed to be built ever. So I spun it around and it had this extremely cool metallic copper backing.
Yeah.
And so I rebuilt this basically almost the entire map because of that one new asset. Well, and we got cool stuff that we could do. We got like these assets came with it. I think in the library, the chandelier, I think came from some of those new assets too. They released a Halloween pack, and with the Halloween pack, we got these cool new gates and fences. Right. So I had to redo all that. These stairs,
part of me is
every single one of these is like. So long story short, Amber Temple, $2,600 worth of human effort that you can get for absolutely effing free.
Yeah,
at Tales Tavern.
at Tales
Well,
Tavern.
and the reason I was curious about that is I do 3D printing as a side business, and I know how nightmarish working with some of the wire meshes and using 3D objects.
He's just doing.
Well,
stuff.
you still are, because there's so much overlay and making stuff look good.
Oh yeah,
that's more what I'm talking about, is getting stuff to look good by putting pieces together like that is a real talent, because I can't tell you the amount of wire meshes that I've looked at, or just groups of objects that are other objects put together that look awful.
Well,
And
they
this looks
definitely
really
have
pretty.
personality. There
Yes.
are walls, like there for a long time, there was this is the gravestone. Actually, we can look at it. Hang on. Let me see if this gravestone's hitbox is still absolutely nuts.
And that's kind of what I was talking about, is like
it.
only people that play with this stuff realize how stupid some of these can be.
See where the hitbox is on this thing? It's the white mesh.
Yeah.
It used to be twice as tall, and it was just like a bug. It was just like a weird quirk of this piece when they made it. And some of the walls, when you lay them out, they line up differently if they're flipped around one way than the other, and you just have to learn of all the thousands of assets, like which one's going to do the thing that you want. But to really get to your question, so Talespire in the future will have a program called Tale Weaver.
Yep.
The spirit of Tale Weaver is that there's going to be a pipeline for you to be able to create your own stuff and then get it into Talespire. It's not clear whether they're going to have a marketplace, whether you're just going to be able to share them, whether it's like you have to send your files to your friends, and then when they load in, like it's unclear what that entire landscape looks like. What's nice is that people provided enough feedback about player tokens that they I don't know how long they were trying to get a hold of Hero Forge, but they've been working on Hero Forge integration for probably the last at least 3 months straight.
Right.
But, I mean, I say that there's only like a team of 3 dudes. So one guy has been doing full time trying to get Hero Forge up and running.
Now, is it they're just having issues with the conversion, or is they just having issues getting a hold of Hero Forge properly?
I don't think there's any challenges. I think it's just literally the implementation is taking
that long. Implementation is just taking long.
And that's as somebody, I have limited experience working with 3D models. I'm not, and that's why I'm trying to get everybody in the audience to see how much respect they should put on this kind of work, because working with minis, 3D miniatures is just a nightmare.
It is.
The frames are janky a lot of times, and it's not because the artist that made them did anything wrong. It's just the nature of the beast. Working with computers, things go weird.
The modding community, though, we have had custom tokens for a long time now.
Through Unity, right?
Well, so basically, like the process for getting a Hero Forge token in is so simple now. You go buy your Hero Forge thing, you download the STL, and then there's a very basic walkthrough where you run there's a program to take the asset bundle and extract it or something like that, and then you get the pieces out. But the modding community has created plugins for Talespire. I have a video on it that's like how to get started with plugins. So for us, you just click a button, install plugin, please. It's like, oh, I need to install this dependency. Yeah, that's cool. Okay, neat. And then it's like, drop your file in this directory, and now we have custom tokens that show up in the library down at the bottom. We're on at least the 4th or 5th generation of getting custom tokens into Talespire. If you go to, actually, I can bring it up on my monitor here. There's thunderstore.io.
Yeah, if you have issues, if for some reason they flag you and it says you can't put any sort of links and you want to put links up in Twitch, just send them to me directly and I'll toss them.
Yeah. Hollow, can you put the Thunderstore link in there for me?
No, he's probably not. It's probably gonna flag him as a normal person.
Oh, yeah.
We should be able to allow it. No, I'm in mod mode.
In here, people are already producing custom token packs. There's already a Curse of Strahd one. There's already, like, Scott Cross is incredibly prolific. So we already have dinosaurs. The catch is, and the hurdle is, that all your players also need to have these plugins installed.
Nightbot caught it automatically.
For it to work.
You're working on it?
Yeah.
Matt?
Here, I can. Thank you, Nightbot.
Yeah.
Here, see that. Oh, whoa! Time me out too. Oh, so
Here, I'm grabbing
it's
it.
fighting us.
Because they're on the 4th or 5th generation of mods, and this is just custom tokens. I'm not even getting into like the weather mods and the environmental effects and the auras and the. They have the grab mod where you can have one token grab another. When you move it, it moves the other. Like you can have a horse carry the guy. I mean, and this is all before any sort of official modding support. This community has already done this. There's 5e systems implemented. Like there's this Orc Warband. Go double click and you can have Orc Warband custom tokens. So so I don't. The stuff that I produce, I'm trying to leave as vanilla as possible, because
make sure you don't lose cost or the cost adjustment, that kind of thing. Plus, you're also taking them from somebody else, and
and I don't want to provide support, honestly. I don't want to like produce an adventure and be like, I have this custom token. Well, now I need to walk you through how to do all this stuff, which is going to change in 3 months anyway. So, the modding community is incredibly active. They have their own Discord and they're super cool people. And so there are systems for getting custom tokens in now, and it is very easy to do so if people are into that kind of thing. I was going to have on my Patreon where we paid to have custom tokens produced every month, and I think we were working with Commander Phoenix on it, and then we just got busy writing the adventures and stuff.
But building the adventures out that way,
yeah.
So real quick, because I'm kind of curious, because I did bring up, so in our media, there's a picture of what we call the carnival. So this is a 3D printed carnival that took one of our friends 100 and some hours to even complete.
100 hours wouldn't touch that. I've printed another set of it, and it's several hundred hours.
Okay, it's in the folder, so I just gotta pull that. You can just pull that up real fast. Yeah, I put it right in there. Yep. Yeah. So for everybody else who's watching, so when we go to, both Matt and I work on with a company called GUI Cube out of Colorado, and one thing we have the opportunity to do is we go out and we game master for this company for big cons. And one of our friends decided he was going to just mass produce this massive carnival, and this thing takes up, what do you say, Matt?
It's two long tables, so it's
2 long tables
probably
is what it takes.
4 foot by 6 foot.
Yeah.
No, massive. Probably more than that. Probably 6 by 6, close to that somewhere.
And curious to think if how long we could, would we be able to do this in Talespire, and would this be something that would be fun and exciting to do?
Here, let me see.
Hundreds of hours.
Let's go to.
Maybe not actually.
Hang on.
Maybe
let's
not
go
actually.
to Tales Tavern, and I'm going to type in Carnival. What have we already got?
Yeah.
Wild Beyond the Witchlight Carnival World Map.
See, I was wondering if that would be something you'd want to look into.
Let me click this button. Yes, please add this map to my campaign.
So you can see on our screen right now this massive carnival that's been printed. Most of it is custom 3D printed
or custom models.
Custom models, yeah. And then the middle itself has completely was customized.
Oh, that's pretty.
I'm not seeing what you're seeing.
It's on the VOD Ninja. Sorry.
Oh,
this is.
I'm looking at his screen.
This is very basic. This is very, very, very basic too.
Yeah.
It looks like somebody made it just for their home game of Wild Beyond the Witchlight.
Yeah.
Okay, so something like you just made, yes, that could be done very, very, very easily in Talespire. We don't have a lot of assets for tents and stuff yet.
I'm sure it's on its way out though.
What folks have done is, so right now with plugins, we can't get tiles into the game. So there's a difference between tiles and tokens, right? Like tokens you're moving around your players. Tiles are the actual, like, you're building stuff. But what they have done is they have made tokens for things like, I think there are tents, right? There is a plugin that has tents. Somebody's made tents. Hang on, here's golems. But what people will do for things like a tent is they'll make a custom token that is the tent, and then just bring it in as a token and drop it in.
Oh, that makes sense.
Rather than it being a tile, if you have to like go inside, that might not work.
Right. There is. So I have seen the one way I don't know how they've done it. You'd have to go hunt it down. But I know Horde of the Dragon Queen has been done in Talespire because I run one, but I just don't run it through Talespire. But I was playing around in it. And I know if you go to the bandit camp, they have a lot of tents in those ones. And you can actually go inside of those. And I don't know how that works.
Actually, if I just type in tent, I don't know why I didn't just do that in slabs. I think people will make boards that are just a collection of like various kinds of tents. The encampment asset pack. And so here's Talespire. Watch. Click copy code. Copied. I go to Talespire. I go right here and I just paste it. Okay.
Man, that's so easy.
Here we go.
That's so easy.
Here's a bunch of tents. And you know what's crazy about all this? Here's the fun part. Well, another fun part, I guess. I think it's interesting. Maybe that's a better.
You're just gonna place it inside the world.
It is text. It is pure text, and they have there are generators online that can decompile this into a JSON. They can modify the JSON and then recompile it, and you paste it back in. So
if you need a color adjustment or anything.
Well, if you want to replace tiles, so say we took this slab and we have these spiky walls right here, right? Well, if I go to Tales Tavern, he just published this a moment ago. There's a tool called the Asset Replacer. So hopefully it doesn't break because it's kind of an old thing. But say I want to replace the spiky bit walls with, I don't know, I'm just going to grab something, castle.
Oh, with a different texture. Oh,
so
that's cool.
Castle walls, right? And say I want to remove this bedroll. There's a remove option somewhere. I just don't know where.
Oh, wow.
Right. So because it's just text, it's just a JSON file.
Yeah.
And it might break because these are old assets. Actually, no, it didn't. So copy new slab code. We go back out, and then you paste it. And the ones that I selected are now this castle wall.
That's really cool.
And there's also an option to rotate things randomly.
Oh,
I know this is supposed to be like about my Kickstarter and stuff, but this is rad. I love this.
Yeah, that is. So you can make like organic looking walls and stuff. So that's really cool.
One of our boards uses a lot of those boulders.
Right.
Our most recent encounter board, as voted on by our patrons, they wanted a mountain temple, and so we built a mountain temple for them. So here's our mountain temple, right?
Wow.
Right. Oh wow.
Well, if each of these was manually rotated,
it would drive you nuts.
This time around, next time we do this, we can build it and not be concerned about the way in which these boulders are facing. We can just drop it into the replacer.
And then spin them randomly. That's so
spin
cool.
them randomly.
He added a Mad, who's in the chat, added a feature for us so that we can rotate them randomly.
That's really cool.
And just replace, and then boom. You just paste it back out.
Baldrax has built an awesome terrain generator.
Oh, is Baldrax here? No, he's not yet.
Fox is stating.
So yeah, Baldrax built a system where he can design terrain in a program called Houdini, which Houdini is what like movies use. Like movies use Houdini to the scene in Free Guy, if you ever saw Free Guy, where he's driving down the.
Watched it last night, weirdly.
Okay, when he's driving down the street and the buildings are crushing in.
Yeah.
That was done in Houdini.
Really?
Right? Like they built a system that crushed the asphalt in a certain way and like brought it so it's for widespread systems like that. And so he developed a free system in Houdini that can then generate stuff like this in Talespire. And so for our next Grasslands encounter map, we're collaborating with Baldrax to do that. So this is the type of thing that he can generate.
So I'm really curious. Sorry, I've done just enough 3D modeling to like be interested in stuff nobody else probably cares about, but you might be interested in it. So my immediate impression as somebody who's done a little bit of modeling is I would want to build that all in cubes, just square cubes, so I can get the elevation like I want it, and then just go back in and grab a replace with all these really cool textured blocks
Mhm.
and then spin them randomly. Is that something you guys do, or do you tend to place them organically and then spin them?
Well, right now we've had no tools like this. So all the stuff that we have done basically prior than like 2 or 3 weeks ago has been entirely manual.
Ooh.
Haim and I are incredibly sensitive to voxelization, and I am incredibly sensitive to anytime I look at something if I can see a pattern. I don't
Right.
like it.
Yes.
Like it looks sloppy to me, and so
Right.
every single tile will be rotated. Like every
Right.
single boulder will be at a different angle. And so for bigger boards like this and for the terrain generator that Baldrax is providing us, I have to kind of relax on that and just like, you know what, if you take a step back and look at it, it's good. The fighting the voxelation with Talespire, it's just kind of a losing battle for now.
Okay.
In the future, they're saying that they're going to be building a terrain, they're going to revise the terrain building system. It won't be placing tiles. It'll be more like in Unity where you actually shape the ground and stuff.
Yeah.
But until that happens, this is kind of as good as we can get.
Right.
Well, I wonder at that's something for a different day because that's really boring and technical, and I don't I don't think people want to hear that. But it is really interesting, and I get where you're coming from about fighting the voxelization. The only thing I would say that maybe players might be more, well, no, I was going to say if they're all 5-foot tiles, you might could as a DM be like, oh, I can utilize that to more effectively do movement, but I forgot that Talespire has like movement gauges and that stuff. So that's really irrelevant. But
well, there's no like movement gauge in Talespire. I mean, you can place tokens and have them move around. I don't know how much of that you guys have even seen. I mean,
I've messed around it personally, but I've never ran a game in
Talespire. So like here, we could enter a turn-based initiative mode here. Our characters all have stats. We can have our bard cast magic on the dragon. We can do all these things. When you're building, there is the smallest unit, which is that.
That's what I was curious about. What your smallest unit was.
This is the smallest unit, and so we are doing absolutely everything we can to have things look smooth and not vox. Like, I mean, look at this wall, right? Like, you can't really.
That's incredible with a tile set. That being your smallest tile, that's an incredible feat. What you guys have done here.
Heimdallr did an absolutely astonishing job with this. He's way better at the sculpting of mountains and stuff too. And this dude, the adventure that we have planned for this is going to be rad. They're going to enter here, and it's going to take them into an inner sanctum, and the inner sanctum is going to be like this kind of pristine place that like abyssals are attacking, but there's a portal that inverts into like another temple, like directly opposite, that's like corrupted in like a nightmare.
Oh, that's cool.
And they just released a new asset pack that's like the aberrations, and so you have these walls, and with the asset replacer we can build it once,
then just
we can build it once. And dude, where's my height? There it is. So they have these walls that have like skulls and crazy stuff in it like this now.
Right.
And so our plan is to kind of build it, replace it, and then just kind of flip it around and have like an inverse, and then have some combat that takes them into the other world and stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
It's the when I was playing around with it, I was getting really confused by the scaling and the height, and I was like, oh god, I'm losing my mind.
There's definitely a learning curve.
Right.
One of the bigger draws for me is that, like I mentioned, I like the hero system. I want to play in a world that you literally can't play in on a tabletop. Like, if my character can punch someone 16 football fields, you can't do that on a 4x8 table. Like, everything would have to be theater of the mind, right? And so now we can do things like use there's a standard that's called Mod City at Tales Tavern, where they have Mod City buildings that you can just like plug and play and build it. So you could build a big, vast, randomly generated city and then like have a fight in it, but you can cover spans that you couldn't do. You could have fighter jets, right? Like fighter jets are so far off the ground. And like, anyway, just want to mention that. That's in regards to height. I love it.
Yeah. And just the technical, like what you can do. That's incredible. And really, it's there's so much stuff going on here and so much talent that it's not going to be super apparent, I think, to people who haven't just struggled with doing stuff. But seriously, this is impressive, and it's so cool that a lot of this is just going to be available for free.
Yeah.
And that's a great gift to the community that you guys are giving to everybody.
Yeah, and here's our Crystal Caverns adventure that we put together that spans these 3 boards where they enter here. And so our adventures that we're publishing, it's way more work, but we really have like a kind of like a Talespire first approach with it. It's not so much you write an adventure, you make your Roll20, 2D VTT assets, and you're good to go. We actually tend to start with the idea in Talespire, write the adventure around that. And so it's a lot more effort, I think, for us to produce it. But it's just so important to us that there is like fully fledged content that is extremely high quality in Talespire that people can just grab it and go.
Yeah, and it's not awesome. Something that somebody forced into Talespire. It's something that was done with that platform in mind first. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, that I think is a big deal. I think that's looking at it on the different side of things would definitely make it easier.
Is that token moving on its own randomly?
It's flying.
Oh, that's cool. I like that it moves so that it looks like it's hovering.
Yeah, so I don't know why it's flying, but it's flying.
It doesn't look like a flying monster.
No, I don't know what was going on. It might have been an accident too. Yeah, the end boss of this adventure is this crystalline roper that's in this chamber. And actually, here, let me get the lights set correctly in here. Here we go.
Ooh.
So this is what this fight looks like. This roper is using mind control. There's a cavern over here. You kind of can't see it. But there was a cave in, and it was cut off from its food supply in the Underdark. And it's using mind control on some rust monsters and some ankegs. And so as the players come down here to like figure out what's going on, they have to fight this crystalline roper that has like a 50 or 60 foot reach. It's just bonkers. But this is cool.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Fight. Super cool fight to design. And we just really wanted to do kind of what does a map look like that we can have be really dark, but still kind of lit and shows off the lighting and stuff. And so it's like this crystal cavern kind of came to mind.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Super fun to do. Heim does such a good job. I'm more quality control anymore. I like build on stream and stuff, and I do like a lot of the larger builds. But with Heim coming on board, I'm much more active. Like I have the time to run the Kickstarter, and so I'm so thankful that he and I can work on this together.
Yeah, and you guys are doing a beautiful job. It's really impressive.
Yeah, you can see it. Yeah, I hope one day I'll have this time to do this kind of thing. Man, this is crazy.
Oh, I will never. The kind of Kickstarter that you're doing and what your company is doing is going to be. Yeah. That's going to be what I use forever because I have no interest in doing this myself.
Oh, so for the Kickstarter, you asked a while ago, like, what else do we get on the Kickstarter?
Right.
In setting up the Kickstarter tiers and stuff, the only thing that we really have to like give people are these adventures that we're publishing. And so our patrons just get them. You just get it every month if you're a patron, just for free. And if you're not a patron, you can still go buy it from Drive-Thru RPG. And so we're gonna have 3 done really soon. And so that's what the 3 tiers are at the Kickstarter. The $7 tier you get 1, 14 you get 2, 21 you get 3. There was an early bird where you get all 3 for 15 for the first 48 hours. And then our $50 tier, you get all the stuff, and then we're going to be putting together. Well, as we publish future adventures, we're going to be using people's ideas for NPCs and characters, and I love that kind of challenge. We're like, we have someone submitted like this drunken Aarakocra that like, oh man, what was his story? He gets like vertigo. I don't know, like this long series of really funny idiosyncrasies, and it's like, okay, how do we kind of work that into a story somewhere, where they can run into this character, and then we'll probably publish the entirety of it for free at not even pay what you want, just for free at Drive-Thru RPG, and just be like credit everybody for their ideas. And we will see if WotC's cool with that. Like, I was like, the guy reviewed it, said it was fine, but yeah, we're going to do that thing anyway. And so all the funds that we're receiving are not to actually produce the adventures, because that's what we're getting from our patrons. That all funds raised are to produce more of the Barovia maps in Talespire.
Yeah, and that's beautiful. And I love Wizards of the Coast, and they do great, but they did try to copyright the word magic one time, is the thing.
Oh yeah. So I have hope though. I have hope. So I went online and I looked up the name of the lawyer that sent us the letter and stuff. And there were people who were very upset. Like, okay, here's what I said, and here's the letter they sent us. They're jerks. And as I'm reading it more and more, I was like, dude, this lawyer, the person was wanting to make. They had this whole giant homebrew campaign, and they used Wizards IP in their homebrew campaign, and then they wanted to publish their homebrew campaign to DM's Guild, and you can't do that. Like, they're very specific. Here are the settings you can publish in, and we don't like homebrew things. And it's so I actually got more. I felt better about what we're doing in reading these hate articles, because I was actually on their side. I was like, dude, they make the rules. How
and they
just
need
read
to
the
protect
rules.
their IP, But even with as much as D&D and how good Critical Role has been for Wizards of the Coast, when their first book came out, you can't put Bahamut. You gotta go with something else.
It's you can't put certain people, you can't put those types of characters. You look at all of the things. Oh, hey, welcome, thanks for the raid.
Yeah.
Hey, the Red Heron. Good guys. Definitely go check them out. They've got another great set of streams over there. They're part of the community. They're awesome.
But I'm sure Wizards will do the right thing. I think
so.
Wizards has gotten better over the last 10, 15 years, and I think they really want to help the D&D community, because there has been such a renaissance with Dungeons and Dragons and really just TTRPGs in general.
But we have a couple of ideas. It's either going to be they're shut down and there's no conversation, right? That could very easily be a thing where they don't even have any interest in talking to us, and they're just they send us a cease and desist, and that's the end of it. They could say, hey, change these things, right? I mean, ideally they'd be like, hey, we like what you're doing, we can't allow you to continue, because if we allow you to continue, then it sets a precedent, and I totally get that if their precedent has been the same all the way up. But ideally, they'd be like, look, we'll just give you what you would have made. Can you just make this anyway? There's already word of mouth about it. There's already hype about it. People obviously want it, and if we just can't do a Kickstarter, but for some reason we can do donations and we can use ads to fund it, it's just weird.
No, it really is. I think it's strange, because the way the world's working now, with especially in the tabletop role playing communities, you've got influencers who are just taking what Wizards has already created, using the stuff, giving Wizards that free publicity, and they're seeing this. And they're seeing this a lot better than we expected them to. I think a few years ago this would have looked completely different. They would have been completely against it. But with the way social media works and the way the web is connecting nowadays, they're pulling these things and they're being like, no, keep going, because they're letting people, it's free publicity. So no matter what, if you build Curse of Strahd and you get, that means everybody's going to want to go buy that book. If they're seeing this and they're seeing these content.
I keep telling people, I'm like, I think if we're operating from a place where things make sense, we're fine. If we're operating from a place where common sense doesn't even apply, like if it's legal, it's legally we cannot allow your Kickstarter to continue no matter what period the end, then that's what it is. And us getting shut down for totally illogical, senseless reasons, despite it benefiting everyone involved, it is what it is.
But no, I think the way WotC is doing things nowadays makes a lot more sense, and a lot more, it helps them just as much as it helps the creators. And this is the first, I think, big addition though, where the creative community is out in the open. I don't think I've ever heard of a 3 point, and it might just be the edition setup difference, but fifth edition has so many third parties, has so many connections that you can add to the game, and the SRD is so vast now. I mean, there's a lot of things in the SRD that I would never have expected to sit there.
Yeah.
So, but I'm just
if they
sitting here
throw a
watching
fit,
you go through these things.
If they throw a fit, you just spin the models randomly of the cottages, call it Schmershmovia, and move on.
I don't know.
It's suburbia. It's suburbia now. Leave it alone.
It's, people keep telling me, just forget it. Right? If they give you gruff, just quit trying. And I don't like that approach. I don't know what the answer is yet. But we'll see.
I tell you, the most litigious company I have ever seen is Games Workshop. They like to sue the crap out of people. We're back on Warhammer. I got it in. But
you had to.
But what I'm saying is their STLs, people have they're ridiculous price on their models. And so the modding community, the 3D builders, started making just straight up Space Marines and calling them like angsty space boys and selling the STLs because you can't copyright. There's certain things you can't copyright. Yeah. And, the STL models originally they tried to play nice and, GW just didn't cooperate. And so people found a way that wasn't illegal to continue to produce the content that people wanted because that's what people want and it's going to happen.
We had a conversation when we first started that was like, should we just change it to like Gothic Castle on a Hill?
Yeah.
And I was just like, nope, we're gonna try to do this the right way.
And you'll do much better this way. If everything works out, you'll do much better.
If I don't want to taint that relationship. Right. If they don't learn about how awesome 3D VTTs are going to be for a couple of years, I still want to be there. I still want to be on their list of people maybe that, proves that they really I want to work with them. I want to collaborate.
And you're setting a good precedent. If it works out and Wizards is like, yeah, go for it, then you've set a good precedent for everybody else that wants to pour that much love and attention into one of these projects. That Wizards, is okay with it, and they recognize that their fans are just trying to produce good content for each other.
Right, 100%.
Here we go. Yeah.
What is that thing?
It's a big bad.
Ooh. I switched away from that screen. I was on your Kickstarter.
Woo.
Oh, I like that.
And we have throttled back on our marketing for our Kickstarter for this week. Just
in case,
just to hear back. I mean, I think they sent us the email on Friday, and we've been kind of sweating bullets since then. But next Monday, we're gonna basically, if we haven't heard back, then that's kind of like, I don't want to say the word approval because it's loaded, but they aren't gonna stop us, I guess.
Right.
But in the meantime, our Patreon is rocking. Our Patreon, we produce about an adventure a month, which includes like a 20-page PDF that's full color. We have like Dean Spencer art this month in it. And it's published at Drive Through RPG. Our patrons get it for free. Actually, the higher tier patrons, like the $10 patrons, get early access to it before we add art and do the final pass. Each adventure has at least 3 fully detailed scene boards. And I have instructions to kind of walk people through, like, here's how you DM in Talespire, because it's a little bit different. It's not, people see this and they really want it to be like a video game where, okay, if we're going up 5 floors in a house, we're going to actually walk our tokens up those 5 floors. Well, in 3D space, playing a game, it doesn't really work like that. And so explaining the best way to do it is actually to lay out those floors horizontally. It's not ideal that you have to like transport them almost like you would do in Roll20, but the practical nature of being able to grab your token and move it, it's so much worthwhile.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a lot of times you see that same thing in actual 3D models a lot of times too, though. Yeah. So we can't completely justify that it's just for Talespire a lot of times, because even Dwarven Forge models, you start building up and such, there's a lot of times when people will not do that. They'll just move it to the side and they'll make this their room for the moment. And we've seen it.
I'll show you, like I was showing you guys earlier. I'll put it on screen. It's the most ridiculous thing I've ever done.
Hi, my love. How are you? You want to say hi?
This is
You know?
one
Oh,
fifth
You want a big,
of
you want a big hug?
a ship that I'm building for Corey. Like
Yeah.
as a player, this is not
That's
necessary.
big.
But as just I'm a nerd and I want these things.
Yeah. Or
Yeah,
your
totally.
tower.
Has to be enough
You have your
sometimes.
wizard's tower.
Yeah.
You're like
My wizard
Nine.
tower is in about 30 pieces behind me, but yes.
yeah.
When we play in person, so Talespire has like an orthographic mode where it'll actually, I can even turn it on. Here, go here, and then you go boop. Whoa, maybe not.
Ooh.
Wow, what
This
have
is
I
the red
done?
flashy room encounter.
Whoa,
Oh,
dude.
look at that. Broken.
Wow, what have I done?
It said fight. It said fight
Holy
me.
cow, like my escape button doesn't work.
It's added in some blue now, which I'm into.
It's like rotating colors. What is
Yeah.
going on? What?
Oh, it's changed colors again.
I'm gonna have to kill my Talespire. This is totally Hollow. Have you ever seen this?
Danger, Will Robinson.
We figured something out.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Today
we got some
anyway,
people. We got
that
some
was a
people
thing.
from the Talespire community in here,
Woo.
so they all got to see that on stream as well. We're like, uh-oh.
That was great. Let's do it again. Anyway, so if we were playing in person before the pandemic hit, I had a TV on the table and we were using a program called ArkenForge. And I got I got really into ArkenForge. I talked to the developer all the time. I really liked ArkenForge because it
getting into ArkenForge.
It has you could do animations. And so I could do like a waterfall. I could make it move, you know?
Right.
And so we would play in person and we would do ArkenForge on the tabletop, and then I would do papercraft tokens.
Okay.
And so then I would make like little thrones and stuff out of that. But even playing in person, I would probably do a combination of real tactile things as well as Talespire. Like Talespire on a monitor to show like a map of, you know, a town or something like that.
Right.
What you got? You got a fish? But I think, I don't know, the moral of that story is I think there's room for Talespire even in an in-person game, but as like a hybrid approach.
Yeah, we're sponsored by Last Game Board, but I bought one before we got our sponsorship, and it's coming soon-ish, I think.
Soonish.
And that's exactly what I'm going to do.
Wait, Game Board?
Table.
You got sponsored by Game Board?
Yeah. We're sponsored by Last Game Board.
With the token that you move and it like
the 3D printed
tokens?
Oh,
dude, that is cool.
They're actually sending us a demo to play with.
Yeah, we actually.
Man.
I'm actually good friends
hook a brother
with.
Up, dude.
I'm good friends with Phil. He is the community director.
Phil was in here earlier.
Cross your fingers. I don't know why this wouldn't work, Hollow.
Phil's actually going to come in. He's going to come in on our show here in the next couple weeks and talk about his experience.
Yeah, that would be perfect for Last Game Board too.
So here's orthographic mode, and you can still change the lights and stuff and all the. Hollow Fox, who's in the stream, actually he updated one of the plugins, so you can hit a button and it will ask you for the dimensions of a rectangle. And it will actually automatically switch. Well, you do it from orthographic mode, but it will screenshot whatever that rectangle is and then export it to like a PNG.
Oh, wow.
So that's cool.
You can build it in Talespire.
Yeah.
Go to orthographic mode, print it out, and then crop it and actually use it in a 2D VTT. It's not perfect. And that's actually, I use that to send to our guy to make it into an incarnate map. And then he can literally trace my Talespire board.
Yeah.
Well, also, like we were saying, you could utilize this in Last Board Game.
Last Game Board,
Or Last Game Board, yeah.
The Last Game Board has recently just connected with Foundry. So now it's how it's going to work. So they're going to connect Foundry directly. So you can use all of your modules in Foundry to go directly to it.
Wow. I love that.
Let's get some humans. Actually, there's one that I really wanted to do. I want to do the big elemental.
I'm looking at doing a custom Tilt 5 build. Augmented reality is where it's at. I don't know what a Tilt 5 build is, so you're gonna have to explain that a little bit to me. Hollow Fox is over there talking some crazy language. I don't get it.
Here we go. So something like this. Like here's our big Earth elemental. My lighting is it's frozen. That's why. Here, you turn off the frozen filter. Reduce our exposure a little bit. turn off chromatic aberrations in vignette. Switch over to temporal TAA, so it's a little sharper.
Yeah.
There are whole videos on how to make it look sexy. Like
that looks
that's a good
nice.
skill.
Like,
and then it's like, okay, I'm gonna move. Well, I gotta get out of. Wait, can I get out of photo mode and move them? I don't think I can actually. Can you move them here? Something like that. So what would happen is, and there are plugins for this too. There's plugins specifically for streaming Talespire now. There's one that's like camera view, I think, where you can set up one window that's your cameraman, right? And anyone who also has the plugin can set up a shot in Talespire and then send it to the cameraman. So you could have your one view shared with your stream, and then anybody could then change the shot or do whatever, or have a dedicated person doing it without your stream seeing you tweak and move your camera and change your settings and all that crap.
Yeah. I think it'd be very cool to find stuff that allows your audience to do things even outside of the players. And we're currently working with a couple different companies right now to try to kind of combine a couple of those opportunities to show off at the same time and giving just this high quality thing. Being Australian, I am waiting on the glasses as they're not delivered down under yet.
Oh, brutal. So HoloFox is one of, if not the most prolific Talespire modder. HoloFox and Lord Ashes. HoloFox built
well, welcome and thank you for joining us.
the camera tools plugin. So for example, the developers have a particular vision for how builders should be using their program. And we don't always agree.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We don't always agree. I have a couple thousand hours in it. I think that my opinion is valid too. But sometimes it doesn't go that way. And so HoloFox, I commissioned, I do plugin commissions. I'll take a poll from my patrons and ask them what plugin they want next. But for example, being able to tilt the camera up like this is not a thing. Your camera stops here, right? Because if you're at a tabletop, you don't normally climb under your tabletop to look. But as a builder, if I want to remove some of these rocks underneath the bottom of the world here, I don't know if you can see any of this stuff down here, but sometimes I need to clean up stuff. We have that because of folks like HoloFox.
Oh wow! So now you can go underneath it and play around with things. Can the Death House level Kickstarter be gifted to people?
If you purchase it, yeah. It's a screaming deal. Honestly,
I can't Talespire. I barely can.
Oh, you mean you want to get the Kickstarter for somebody else? I think you can do that in Kickstarter. I think
I'm sure you should be able to gift it somehow.
If you purchase that add-on, I mean, there's not so many people getting it that you can't just talk to me, right? If you get it, definitely be like, hey man, let's schedule the thing. Let's talk about it. So I'm not you're not going to get shuffled to a customer service phone line or something. It's just me.
Right.
Yes, my love. I want a big hug too. Thank you very much. You're so cuddly today. So the Death House add-on, I think it's $250 for a 2-shot of Death House, basically up to the attic and then down below, at 4 hours each session for you and 5 of your friends. Hey kiddo, if you're gonna do that, then you gotta go. Love, you can cuddle me, but I gotta talk to these dudes right here. Are you counting? You've been practicing your counting. Trying to think of what else is going on. We are actually probably going to be starting up professional DM services in the next month or so. Probably start playing.
I do that
games.
already, so.
And that's one of the reasons we we will. I would love your advice on this.
Yeah.
We have. All right, kid. You're gonna have to go, my love. Yes. Do I want to play freeze tag? Oh, I do. Oh, I would love to play freeze tag with you. Can I do this first?
It is getting late in the show, so we won't be too late.
We're happy to let you go so you can go play with your daughter. Right? No problems with that.
It's my heart, right? Oh.
Yeah. Let's
both of my kids are asleep already, so that's the only reason I get
trying to think if there's anything else. Oh, so definitely we will ask you about professional services. And that's I'm so Heim is building the stuff.
The froggies are away.
The froggies are away. All right, Mama. I'll see you in just give me just a few minutes, love.
She's
You can take
adorable.
you can take the owl stool with you. Thank you. So with the Forge of Fury, all the maps completely done, all the PDFs completely done. That sort of thing. I'm really hoping that someone who's providing professional DM services would be able to use that. And then
I would
run
love
their
to
games
sit
at
down
Talespire.
with you and see kind of the understanding of how you would continue to play, how you would play in the Talespire world, and then at the same time I'll add what I would do as a game master, and see if we can combine this and see what it would actually look like. I'd be excited to talk to you about
love the feedback, because right now it's been a lot of me and my patrons, but I am supporting a lot of people at Patreon. I don't send them a lot of messages, so I totally get it. I would love the feedback as far as I ran through this with my group. These hallways were too tight, it wasn't fun, or we couldn't, our tokens were under this ledge and we couldn't get there. Any sort of feedback like that, I would just be ecstatic to get.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, definitely. If people, since we're closing out here, it's a great time for our stream elements decided it wanted to pop up and talk to us about it. If you want to come hang out with us and you want to get these the connections that we have with some of our guests that are in here all the time, and you want to learn a little bit more of what we're doing as Misfits, definitely come over and pop on our Discord. It goes up and down, but the more people that we have in the community, somebody's always there to answer something, somebody's always there to talk, and we're really trying to build a community that's out there that's helping small creators and these Kickstarters to get out there and get noticed. And it's kind of been a goal almost this year for our Tavern talks, that we've had so many Kickstarters come on board, and we've actually, lucky enough, seen almost all of them so far. I think all of the ones that have been on our show have launched. So
you did the song of Nemet, right? Is it Nemet?
What was that?
You had Song of Nemet?
Song, yeah, the Song of Nemet.
That looks super cool.
Yeah, so that one was great.
The one we did last week. Oh my gosh, Banners of Honor.
Banners of Honor was great.
I'm actually kickstarting that one myself because I think that one is going to be great.
So we're connecting left and right with people, and we love doing this. This is probably, other than running our campaign, this is my favorite night of the week, because I get to sit down and just talk to creators, and I always come out with something else. As a professional game master, it's not something I'm doing full time yet, but as time is growing and as people are starting to see the quality that I do offer, I'm excited to have that opportunity to do that. Found your channel on TTRPG Academy Discord. Oh, cool. Thank you. And but we are definitely excited to just continue this growth with people. And if you're, like I said, if you definitely hang out on the Discord, come talk to us. We're looking at trying to put some sort of a role play that people can be involved in that connects with our stream very soon.
And please go check out this Kickstarter. Stuff like this is super important.
It might succeed. We might not get shut down. It could happen.
Well, you guys have already
blown it out of the water for how much your request is.
But at the very least, get on there, show WotC when they're checking out the page, that people are behind them, that we want this.
The comments that say, please don't shut this down.
Yes. Yes.
I think maybe that will help. I don't know.
Yes.
I think the cool thing is, though, is a lot of times a lot of people don't realize that the Kickstarters are great and that getting them pledged is amazing. But what people really are looking at is the amount of people that back them. That is where the goals come from. That is where people get the most out of the Kickstarters, is to see that so many people backing them. And
this build here, you probably can't see it. The Dungeons and Randomness podcast, right?
Okay.
So the Dungeons and Randomness podcast had a Kickstarter to produce their book. Oh my God, what's it called? I was in their Twitter and I upvoted and retweeted a thing, and I freaking won some competition. Adventurer's Guide to Theria. They were trying to get their Adventurer's Guide to Theria published with a Kickstarter, right? they hit some insane stretch goals, and one of their stretch goals was get a crap ton of art. And so they were just running around trying to spend all this money on art, and they commissioned all of the professional Talespire builders to build a part of this world. And so,
awesome.
So what we built was the city of Dawnhurst, which is like this big Gothic, this huge Gothic city. I don't know if there are any screenshots on the media resources page, but
I don't know if there are.
yeah, I think Stallry, who's another builder, built Hell. I did Dawnhurst. Brother Hannon built like a cloud top thing. But I think more and more and more, you're going to see this sort of thing where you have these kind of higher profile streams that want to like, what is the coolest thing we can put in front of people?
Right. And that's where I really wanted to talk to you after, like, down the road, because like I said,
Dimension 20,
awesome
Dimension 20, right? Their whole entire new thing. They are working with Talespire to make all the custom assets for their space thing.
Right.
And my good friend Brother Hannon, I don't think he's working for him full time yet, but Brother Hannon is making.
No, I'm good friend. I've talked to him many times as well.
Have you?
We have actually, yeah. He's in our Discord
nice.
as well. So
yeah.
But he is actually he works really close friends with a good friend of ours, Chris, who runs a stream over on Crows the Damned. And that's what he. That's where he does.
Brother Hannon is amazing. He did the statue. He did the statue in Ember Temple. For me, he did the wolf head for Werewolf Den. He did so Babala Saga. We did like an epic boss fight map, and he made her upside down skull. Like, I don't even know how you do that. And he made it.
His thought process. I've listened to him, and we've talked many times. He can use the most unreal objects to make something look ridiculous, and it's amazing.
And I'm gonna say this, and James, you know, I was a Critical Role mod from way back. I've been involved in Critical Role from the time it started. Dimension 20 has taken over. If you're listening, Dimension 20 as my favorite D&D podcast of all time. Fantasy High was just so good, and man, just the end of the first and second episodes just shocked me so much that it kept me coming back, and I was hooked on that from then on. So that's really cool that they're getting to work with some of the Talespire stuff.
Yeah, but yeah, let's close it down. Let's let you get back to your family. We don't want to keep. This is not here to keep people away from that. Thank you all for coming. The chat has been through the roof. We hope you guys will come back on Sunday and next Wednesday as we continue to just do this. Let your friends know. Come hang out with us. Bring a drink, and we'll talk to you guys all this Sunday for another one of our Misfit one-shots. And then next week, Matt will be here. I will potentially not be here, but we will have Ben from Adventures Awaits, which is a third-party Patreon weekly and monthly adventures that he gives out on his Patreon. And he's going to talk about, instead of Talespire, he's going to talk about professional writing and what it takes to be a professional adventure writer, which I think is going to be another fun little conversation for us to have. So thank you again for all the people that hung out with us tonight. This was a lot of fun, and we will see you guys soon. Have a wonderful, wonderful week.
Take care, everybody.
Bye.